Make sure connected. Voice, audio.
Good.
So now then I'm making sure that live videos is connected. Uh, oh, here you go. Hey, welcome, Facebook fan. How is everything going, guys? Happy Thursday. And today we have a very special guest today. Actually, sources. We're going to cover a very top topic today. It's about 1031 exchange. Hello, Mr. Jeff. This is how are you today?
Very well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Yaser.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really there's very topics questions actually. Most of the people actually ask about what's a 1031 exchange, and they want to know about. This is actually for me as experience when I start the field as a real estate agent, and been about more than 5 years. And I started before that. I started investors. I was sell it. It wasn't actually in my mind about 1031 exchange. It was actually a big advantage, really big benefits by the capital gain, especially with the markets, the challenge going on in the markets. It's very kind of rocket, especially here in California. I'm not sure about the other state, but I mean, it's really, we just need a little bit more about what's 1031 exchange. Most people they don't know about it. Is it like about taxes, deferred, what it's about, and what's kind of give us a little bit about your company as well, and just kind of what's about 1031 exchange.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yaser. So, Exchange Resources has been around for over 20 years. I've been in the business for over 30 years doing 1031 exchanges, which is tax-deferred exchanges. Okay, it's not tax-free, it's tax-deferred. It is the actual tax code, 1031, in the revenue code. So it is a part of the tax revenue code, 1031, and this is where you get the opportunity as an investor holding your properties for investment purposes. You may defer the capital gains tax by doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange. So it's not tax free, it's considered tax deferred.
Oh, tax deferred.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as you were mentioning, as far as investors trying to buy a property, fix it up, and flipping it, 1031 exchanges don't apply to fix and flips because those properties are held for inventory and you become like a developer buying a property, fixing it up, and reselling it for income purposes and inventory. So that's why the IRS looks for properties that are held through a 1031 exchange, and you get the opportunity to defer them by buying like-kind property.
Okay. So the like-kind property, are we talking about value price? Are we talking about, is this like, can we buy a property at the same value? It has to be a little bit higher value. What's
So good question, Yaser. So value is what the IRS looks at is whatever you sell for, you want to buy something equal to or more because all the net proceeds from the sale must roll over into the new property. The second thing, any debt that is sold or paid off at the close of escrow, you must replace that debt with a new loan equal to or more. And that's why it's pretty close to equal to what you sold. You must buy something of value. So the IRS says you can deduct commissions and title escrow fee, exchange fees, and anything that is contractual between the buyer and the seller. Okay? Then you have a net amount. So we always recommend that you talk to your CPA to get that value. And like kind, as far as what type of property, is very sell a rental house. It doesn't mean you have to buy another rental house. You could buy units, you could buy apartments, you could buy commercial, you could buy land, as long as it's held for investment purposes, anywhere in the 50 states.
Oh, that's great. So, so the question actually we're talking about the update tax law and that's coming up right now. What's the update right now with the IRS? They just just kind of update.
Sure. Some updates from the Trump tax property exchanges. So before we used to do trucks, boats, planes, trains. Now you cannot do personal property. You can only do real property to real property. So anything real estate held for the productive use or trade or business. You could exchange it for other like-kind property that is also held for the productive use or trade or business.
Okay. So, and how about commercial? As a commercial, is it be also in the same rules, or there's a little bit different rules?
So another good types of property, because anything that's held for investment purposes that you're going to show on your Schedule E. That's why the IRS looks at there's only two types of properties: your primary residence and everything else. So basically 1031 exchanges apply to everything else. So if it have rental houses, duplexes, fourplexes, commercial, retail, industrial, office, that's all considered held for investment purposes, all property held for the productive use or trade or business.
Okay. So people, they have started, said, I want to go ahead and do a 1031 exchange. So what's the process of how we do the 1031 exchange?
So the process of the 1031 exchange is, number one, you want to basically talk to your CPA to see if it's going to be feasible for you to do a 1031 exchange. Because remember, it's tax deferred and not a tax-free type of situation. Number two, you need to work with your realtor, Yaser, and basically Yaser's going to put in the disclosures into the contract and to the listing agreement, showing that it's your intent to do a 1031 exchange. Accept the offer, then the exchange company formally gets involved. We need to know who's going to handle the escrow, and basically a copy of the contract and a copy of the preliminary title report showing how you hold title. Then we prepare the exchange documents, put them into escrow, so you do not touch the funds. The number one thing is IRS says you cannot have any actual or constructive receipt of the exchange funds. They all come to us to hold for the benefit of you, and then your exchange starts the day of closing. Approximately 6 months to complete the exchange. The first 45 days is when you have to identify the replacement property. There's 2 rules to identify the replacement properties. First rule, 3 properties. You have your first choice, second choice, and third choice, and they could be of any value. It could be 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. The IRS doesn't care. Second rule is called the 200% rule. When you want to identify 4 or more properties, then the IRS caps you on the total value of all the properties identified cannot exceed twice the value of what you sold. And then whatever's on that list, by the end of the 45th day, either list, you must buy from. Okay? So both ID rules are based upon the number of properties you identify. 3 or less is rule number 1. Okay? You have 4 or more, then you automatically roll over to rule number 2, twice the value of what you sold.
Oh, great. Paul, I'm working with an investor right now. We have a deal we're looking to buy. We have the property. He's actually selling his property, and he's just trying to do the exchange. We are pending process right now, and so if you choose the property and make an offer, and we get the accepted offer, well, we're gonna making sure this one have to be sold first. He's selling the and we can start the 1031 exchange. So we don't do the opposite way. There's a way you can do the opposite way, but it's going to cost more, correct?
Yes.
We don't want to talk about that now. Let's just say we are pending in a contract, and for some reason we have to identify a property within 45 days, correct? And what happened during the escrow, if things fell apart, or they're going to cancel, they have to have another property to switch over, right? Because the 45 days clock would start when the first pending, correct? When he canceled the contract, how was that? I just want to make sure, just kind of clarify that 45 days. If there's something happen with say for the escrow, and this always happen. So what's exactly the solution for this?
Right. So basically, if you do not close with the property you need to sell, your relinquished property, then the IRS says there's no exchange. But if you're in contract to purchase your replacement property, then you need to use it on the property being sold. So you need that protection in there. That's why you want to use an experienced agent that has the knowledge of 1031 exchanges. So that's why we always recommend that the agent be aware of the ins and outs of the contract to help protect you as the client doing the 1031 exchange.
Okay, so for the for the closing procedures for the 1031 exchange. So I know with we started how to actually complete close the deal, and now you guys will refund the funds. The funds you guys holding the funds.
Yes.
For how many days?
Maximum 180 days.
180 days. So after we close that deal, he can transfer that fund to the other party, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So so what's other challenges you see with the 1031 exchange? Say, I know there's a lot of benefits. What's the challenge you see with 1031 exchange?
So the challenges that we see in the marketplace, number one is having a good agent represent you who knows basically that you're doing a 1031 exchange and you're prepared to meet those challenges. Number one is to find the replacement property. So the IRS says you could go into contract during the escrow period of the property you're going to sell, and then you just want to make sure that you close it after you close on the property you need to sell. And then that's one of the key marks of a very good agent, that they're ahead of the game, properties identified within the 45 days and closed. Because if you don't identify any properties within the 45 days, the IRS says your exchange is over day 46, and we must close out the file and give your money back. Okay? And you have no opportunity then to do a 1031 tax deferred exchange. And if you have 3 properties that you identify and then none of them go through, then we have to wait until day 181 to give your money back and close your account. That's why it is very critical in this process, because you need to know that you're working with someone that's competent to find you that replacement property and make it happen for you.
Oh, great. That's very great information. So for the agenda actually we have here, and you see about for the 5 years holding period, do we give us more information about the 5 years holding periods for the new law? What's it say?
Yes, and that's where you work with your CPA to make sure that you work with them to find out when's the right time to make the move in. There is a holding period if you want to get the Section 121, the primary residence exclusion of the $250,000 or the $500,000 as a primary residence. It's not 100% tax-free anymore. There is a proration. So the 5-year holding period says you must hang on to the replacement property if you convert it to a primary residence and you want to get residence exclusion. So if you sell it before 5 years and you live there 2 out of the past 5 years and you want to get that, the IRS says you cannot get it. You will get no tax-free money. You will just pay all capital gains tax on those gains.
And how much the capital gain tax will be?
So it always this is where your CPA comes into play.
Yeah.
So typically, it's going to be IRS federal is 15 to 20%. Okay,
Wow.
so we go 20%. If you're in the high bracket, and that's going to be what's that? Healthcare benefit under the Obama thing, and you have state of California, which is going to be 9.3 to 12.3, so we go high, 12.3. And then you also have recaptured depreciation, which is 25%. So if you just want to figure about 1/3 of your gain is going to be going to taxes, that's a lot of money to go to pay to Uncle Sam. So that's why investors always elect to do a 1031 exchange to help defer the capital gains tax. And because this is the benefit of the 1031 exchange, because it helps create wealth.
That's great. Yeah, this is very great information. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being here today. And this is very great information. I know we almost cover everything in just in what, a very short time. I know we need another part two, probably we're going to do in YouTube, and I think maybe be more in details and more challenge. Maybe I know there's a lot of questions, many people in their mind. So we don't have. I know you don't have the time to go all over that because, but we'll have another meeting together, and we can probably talk more about 1031 exchange. And definitely, thank you so much for being here, and very wonderful. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you guys next time, part two. It'll be on the YouTube channel. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.